All right, everybody, welcome to the second episode of Rogues Gallery Live. I am really excited to be back with you all again, and we have an amazing panel tonight in the gallery, and I would like to introduce you to all of them. First up this evening, we have, of course, the Centauri Stir-Fry.
Hey.
And we have Jeff Morris.
Hey, everybody.
We have Lawrence Uhl.
Hello, everyone.
I do want to say Rogue Rick, he could not be with us tonight. He had a family deal that he was going to be doing. He wished he could be here tonight. We are also going to eventually, hopefully, be joined by the Paradox Nerd. PJ is going to be joining us as well. And hopefully he will show up for this because I am very excited tonight. We have a very special guest in the house. You know him from all kinds of amazing sculptures, but my favorite and the one you probably are most familiar with is the amazing Prime 1 Lobo. I would like to introduce you all to Romell Chopraa. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Like I said, we're very excited that you are here. We have kind of divvied up the questions for you tonight. We try to keep this show around 40 minutes to 60 minutes or so. We don't want to go on too long, but we're so glad that you're here. And I'll just go ahead and start out with the first question tonight. Tell us a little bit about your art background. What first got you started into art?
Yeah, so thanks for having me, first of all, guys. I would love to give all my credit for that to my parents, actually. Since childhood, I was already involved in sketching and traditional skills. My father used to gift me great artist edition. You can check out. I have lots of volumes for this thing. That's the one I'm talking about. Tipolo. Yep. These traditional skills got me interested into art, basically. So once I finished my high school and joined a local institute over here in my city, that was back then, I think 11 years back. The education was not abundant back then, so I had to taught myself a lot, basically. So that strive and that hunch actually got me into this field.
Did you start out with kind of paper pencil? What kind of media did you use in medium?
Yeah, all like I said, all traditional skills like normal pencil, paper, and just a canvas paintings. Since my mother is also a canvas painter, so I think it's in my blood, actually. You can say that.
Awesome. Do you still do a lot of canvas painting these days?
Canvas painting I left since I moved into digital skills right now. So, but yeah, my father still does some paintings. And my mother as well.
That's awesome.
But I know the basics. I know the basics of that.
That's very cool. That's awesome. Just wanted to take a moment. PJ has joined us, the Paradox Nerd. So I wanted to welcome him to the Rogues Gallery tonight. Welcome, PJ. Hopefully he can hear us. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me, guys? Sorry, I had problems with my internet. So
that's okay.
Sorry for joining late.
That's okay. We're just glad that you're here. Welcome to the Rogues Gallery tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's see. It looks like our second question is going to Stir-Fry. Stir-Fry, do you want to hit us up with the second one?
Sure. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. First of all, my question would be like, okay, this is a pretty big. This whole medium here, this of sculpture and statue collecting, has really taken off. And there's probably a lot of new guys who are they're probably inspired by you and other people, and they want to get their foot in the door. So I guess my question would be, how did you get your foot in the door? What was your first break, I guess?
Yeah, the first break I got into this industry was from a piece I did for a friend that was Deadpool on a throne. Right. That was a fan art piece I did for a friend, helped him in a gig. So I think that was a big break into this industry. Then I got contacted from XM Studios. They contacted me, and I got chance to work on Bishop character, Lucas Bishop, or their Sentinel versus Sentinel diorama.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a collaborative effort, actually, from all talented artists around the globe. And they all are inspirations. I mean, nowadays, artists are flourishing everywhere, from everywhere. And like Brazilian artists are still at the top of the list, I think. because of the amount details and the passion they have towards their work.
Mhm.
A lot of other inspirations also. So the Deadpool on a Throne was a piece that got me a big break into this industry. Yes.
That's awesome. You mentioned that XM kind of gave you your first opportunity. What's that process like? Do you have to kind of audition? Do you have to kind of give them, a sample that they're wanting you to work on?
I shared my portfolio with one of their creative directors, Ang Seng, I think.
Yes.
So I shared my portfolio with him, and when I was doing some old works that was related to some toy industry, I guess, I suppose. I used to work on a lot of toys also. I'll show you later on the images of that. So he told me that I still need to learn a lot. And then after Deadpool piece, he gave me a chance, and I'm thankful to him. And after that, Brown Wolverine came in. I got a chance to work on that character as well. So yeah, it was a journey. I mean, throughout, I don't regret anything. I mean, it was a learning experience throughout my journey, and we all are learning every day. So I take it as a positive chance. And yes, from XM, then from Brown Wolverine, I got chance to work with Prime One Studios. They contacted me. So that's it. Lobo was the first character, and second one would be the Jungle Predator. I think that will be revealed in Wonderfest February next year.
How about that?
Absolutely. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. So, you mentioned that, the companies contacted you and said, hey, we like your portfolio. We like what you have been doing here. Do you get to choose at all the character that you work on, or do they say, hey, we would really like you to try this, or who sort of goes through the process of saying, this is what we want you to do for us, and how does that happen?
The freedom of thought have always been there, and I was blessed to have that actually. It was decided by companies actually. It was not my personal decision, I would say. They contacted me and they gave me this character, and they back then they put this character Lobo for an art test also. A lot of artists around the globe participated in that test, but luckily I got chosen, and I got chosen by the one, and I got chance to work on such epic character. Since Lobo have always been my childhood favorite.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Well, you could tell your passion for the character in the amount of detail that you poured into that statue, because it is one of the most detailed things I've ever seen in my life. And I love that response from you, because it does go to show you that you really loved that character. And
I'm really happy, and actually I'm really thankful to you all that it was accepted well amongst all the collectors around the globe. So that was a blasting experience for me.
Did you design? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, did you also do the dolphins? Did you have input on that?
I was going to ask that.
No, sorry, Stir-Fry. Sorry.
Yeah, everything was from me. I was responsible for everything.
Oh wow, that's really great. It's such a cool piece, man. So congratulations to you. It's really great work.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Sorry, go ahead.
But sorry about the price, though. Sorry about the price. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
Really, could you get us all a discount?
that was not my decision, actually.
Well, I'm selling a kidney, so if anyone wants one, I could afford that.
How used is that kidney?
You don't need one kidney, right?
Well, the price is high, but man, it seems like it's completely worth it to me. I love it.
Yeah, I think because of the scale and a lot of production price goes into it. I mean, cost was also, companies calculate everything. So I think cost was the production costs were too high. And I think that's the reason they put that price for them.
So
it's around 2K.
One thing they did with that statue, and they kind of changed it as they released it, but they you can buy just Lobo, you can buy just the dolphins. You can buy the certain switch outs and things like that. As an artist, do you prefer people to have the whole vision, or does it bother you if people just have, let's say, Lobo without the dolphins? How do you view that?
That's the reason actually they kept it a different piece. They kept dolphins as a different piece. So it's an option for you if you can choose a dolphins or if you want a statue all alone. So it's your choice actually.
That's interesting. It's neat that they planned that ahead.
That was a smart move by the company, I think.
Yeah, I do too. That's awesome.
Any fan of the character would know that Lobo would be extremely disappointed for the of the people that didn't buy the dolphins. Just, if you know Lobo, he'd be very disappointed in you. Buy the dolphins, people.
I think the dolphins are good.
Dolphins are must in his universe, I think. Dolphins are must in his universe.
Yeah, he loves them.
Yeah.
He's friends with them.
I think it's nice that Prime One decided to kind of to please the collectors, that they kind of split up everything separately, and Lobo separately, and kind of things like that. But with that being said, I could only afford the dolphins, so I'm only gonna pick up the dolphins.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Mr. Chopraa, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's an honor. I just have a quick question. Usually statues, in my opinion, a pose always dictates the prep. So with that being said, what is how do you decide the pose of Lobo? Is there any inspiration from the comic books? Is something that you kind of made up in your mind? And what different poses that do you do? I mean, do you kind of like put on paper just to get an idea of which one you would choose as the final piece, for the statue?
Yeah, sure. So actually, at Prime One, we spend a lot of time on brainstorming. Actually, we do a lot of brainstorming over there, and I did I think 3 or 4 pieces early on. Once I decided to move on to the final one. So Prime One, the creative, had Johnny Matsumoto fam. I mean, Mr. Johnny or Mr. J, you call them. So he decided to keep with this one, the last pose which I did. So from the very start, he used to give me all the direction, like from a hunchback, he's holding a big rifle gun, and then the down hand would be the shotgun, and then later on they decided to keep the cigar hand. Actually, that was additional one.
Yeah.
So that was a tedious process actually, but it was worth it at the end.
Yeah.
I would say.
It's I mean, for me, I think that's one thing I look for.
Together. We all work together actually. It's not like my decision or creative artist, I mean creative director's decision or art director's decision. I mean, it's a team process overall. So we all blend together, we all put our efforts into it, all the brainstorming goes into it, and then we decided to keep one pose.
Yeah, it's a beautiful pose. I mean, it has so much presence.
Some artists literally bash the poses also. Few of them didn't like it.
Oh,
but
really?
It's a scale also. Yeah, scale also. I mean, 1/3 scale, you can't go dynamic.
Yeah, you
can't. The size issues. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. And you know what? I think it has such a presence with that pose. So like if you were to walk into someone's house who has Lobo, you're gonna right off the bat gravitate to that statue because of the pose and the presence that it, like I said, I feel I'm a firm believer that a pose, you can't just cheap out on a pose, and I think that always dictates the presence of, and turned out beautiful. Also, I have a friend that owns one of your the Deadpool on the throne fan art, and I saw it in person. Beautiful. So that one is also an amazing pose. But yeah, it's a beautiful piece, and
like if I see today,
congrats to those who
see few things can
unfortunately
be few.
Have to. I'm sorry, Gary. Hello?
I think there is some signal problem, I think, on the video.
I think,
Oh, okay.
yeah, PJ, I think you're kind of lagging a little bit, PJ. I think there's a little bit of a delay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
It's okay, sir.
Romell, you mentioned, some people kind of disagreeing sometimes. Do you ever have, disagreements with the other artist over direction or, how something should be? Is that very common?
It happens a lot, but I would say at the end, I mean, something has to be finalized. So we all have to agree on some part. And you guys are the better judges. I mean, nothing better than collectors. I mean, you guys are the better judges. So that's the reason, I mean, companies used to tease a lot. They used to put teasers on their page so that you guys can put your suggestions onto it and we can improve better. I think that's the only solution we have.
Well, that's really cool. I mean, I love the teasers. I'm such a big fan of when Prime One used to do all the digital renders. They don't do it as often now, but I always really appreciated those just to give you kind of a glimpse.
Changing the trend. Previously, they never used to tease anything, but the trend has been changing now.
It's awesome. That's really cool. Are you ever in the same room with the other artists, or are you always working internationally via internet and things like that?
I quit many jobs actually. I was a full-time artist over there. I mean, in many studios in India only. But then I never liked the way. I mean, that was I would say, day grinding job for me. I mean, day grinding I never liked. So I quit my job and started to do this freelance work. And from the very beginning, I got chance to work on such big studios like Unbox Industries. They are mainly into toy industry. I used to work on Zelda project.
Cool.
That manga project, Zelda style.
That's cool.
So, I mean, that was a journey. Throughout the journey, I mean, I learned a lot. But I don't have, like I said, I don't have any regrets because it's a learning experience every day for us. Even you are into job. You all are into job, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, learning experience after all. At the end of the day, I mean, it's not a compromise with our lives. It's just what we love to do. That's it.
Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great outlook on that. That's really insightful.
It really is. That's awesome.
I think this is a must in every field. I mean, if you're an artist, if you're a business, an entrepreneur, or you're a businessman, whatever you are, even if you're a student, you need to push yourself. You need to push your limits, and that's what artists are doing nowadays. I mean, you see, I mean, lot of talent, man. I mean, from private commissions to studios, you see a lot of artists over there. I mean, they're flourishing from everywhere. So it's good for the industry, and it's good for you people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the collectors are benefiting so much from so much talent. And so let me ask you this about, so you have Lobo. It is incredibly well received. I have not really heard anything bad about that statue. Do you feel a lot of pressure now with your future pieces? Do you feel like you have to top it? Do you feel like, I know you always want to get better, but do you feel that pressure now on yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I work like 13 or 14 hours a day, so pressure has always been there with me. I mean, I try to bring the best in the next piece. So whether it's a 1/4 scale, even it's 1/6 scale, I mean, size doesn't matter to me because after all, that's a product which you guys will be delivered. So it's a pressure overall, but I take it as a positive response. I mean, it's a chance to push my limits. I take it in this way.
Awesome. How about we go to Jeff? You haven't had a chance to ask your question yet.
Hi, Mr. Chopraa. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
When you start working on a character, the company that's hired you, do they give you a guideline of how the character is supposed to look, or a particular pose, or a character from a certain timeline or a certain story? Do they give you a guideline, or do you get to choose any of that?
Yeah, that was. And I used to read a lot of comics on Lobo. Like I said, I'm a childhood fan for this character, and Batman as well. So these two are my favorite characters of all time. So I did some research on the comics, and Simon Bisley. This portrait came into the picture, and they gave me the direction that we need this kind of face expression, this kind of pose. Just play around, and I did some initial sketches in the ZBrush, which is a digital software we use nowadays.
Yes.
So then we used to share updates with each other, and then we finalized this. We came up with this thing actually.
It's awesome.
That's
the
cool.
I got it right here, man. I got it right here.
Guideline is a must. Yeah, this portrait. Yes, sir. Yes,
You see
sir.
it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought when I saw that alternate portrait where he's biting on his lip. I was like, okay, this guy, he knows what he's doing.
That was a base. That was the base part actually. That was the base idea they gave me. But I gave it a little extra touch with adding some realism onto the anatomy and all.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you the file also. You can see the ZBrush file. I will share the look with you closely. I'll share my screen in a bit.
That's awesome. That's
you can see that.
Since Jeff, we just went to you. I know you've been monitoring the chat. Is there any questions from the group that so far for?
We do. We're questioning whether you collect any kind of collectibles, or are you a statue collector?
I wish I could be that rich, sir.
You can't get an employee discount.
I just get the pieces which I sculpt actually.
Oh,
that's cool.
That's cool.
That is awesome.
That would be a shame if they didn't give you one after you did that.
No, I used to get only a single copy for that piece. Yep.
Well, I wanted to say I saw some photos on your ArtStation page, and there was a Hawkman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hawkman.
That looked amazing. I mean, that was just a really great interpretation of the character. It was so violent. I loved it.
Yeah, the wings were crazy.
The wings were great. The pose was great. It just really looked intimidating in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was also for the same friend which I did the Deadpool for. I did the Deadpool for same friend.
That was the one that had where he killed. Is it Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe?
Yeah,
that it was based on.
Yeah,
that was very cool with all of the little props from all of the characters around the throne. It was very, very
all those decapitated parts and all. Yeah,
very nice.
But when I see now, as an artist, like I said, we improve on daily basis. We learn a lot. So if I need to judge those pieces at a present time, I see a lot of glitches in my anatomy. If you see, there might be some glitches in the anatomy of Deadpool piece, and even on Hawkman, some forms are very exaggerated. So maybe you can see some glitches over there. But it was the first piece I did in this industry, so sorry for that.
Well, I think that's kind of like anybody. You're much more critical of yourself and your work, so you look for you see things that a lot of us wouldn't even notice. Because I thought both of those were incredible looking pieces.
Yeah, that has to be there, I think, because otherwise your pieces won't be improved from time. So you need to.
They were both amazing.
You need to be a lot of critic. You are best critic for yourself. So that's important, I guess. In every walk of life. It's not in an art field only.
Yeah. Well, those pieces are great. To Jeff's point, so you really knocked those out of the park. Curious, one of the things that you talked about is that oftentimes artists rely on collectors to say, "Oh, this is good," or "This needs some improvement," or what have you. And one of the things Prime One does really well is listen to their fans on the feedback forums that they provide. In making some changes. Have you been a part of the process where a change like that has been requested by a collector group, and the companies come back to you and said, okay, we need to make this tweak, or what does that process look like?
Yeah, it happens a lot. They never shared a teaser, I think, on the initial stages for this Lobo project, which I think some confidentiality is must in this business also. So nowadays, companies are keeping that back end just to share some final teasers once the thing is done. But yeah, even nowadays it's happening. Even once the prototype is released, you need to do a lot of tweaks later on. So it's a must. It happens a lot in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that, I think, with the Prime 1 Superman,
Yeah,
the Jim
Superman,
Lee.
I think Batman as well, and
Yeah.
many other companies.
Yeah,
So it's a
Sideshow just changed their Psylocke portrait. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it happens a lot actually.
I mean, as a collector, I am just so incredibly impressed with. I mean, like even take the Jim Lee Batman for example. Like that was already on pre-order. People were already ordering it, and they still continue to make improvements and make the head bigger and the cape more detailed. And that is, as a collector, that is so appreciated. To know, and I have I think 12 Prime 1 statues and many more coming, and I know that there's a tremendous amount of quality that they put into their product, and it's just so cool to hear that even when the statue's done, it might not still be done, and that's really impressive for collectors to hear.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, this is a normal process for every company nowadays. And previously, it was before prototype, but nowadays, if prototype is released, even after that, they used to change it a lot. So changes are normal, I guess.
That's awesome.
And we have to do it. We have to do it. I mean, if you guys didn't enjoy it, we didn't like any piece, after all, we have to change it. But we can't, I want to say, we can't make everyone happy. That's also true.
Yeah. You're not going to please everybody 100% of the time.
True.
Absolutely. Let's see. Could you tell us what is your favorite piece that you've worked on to date?
I think it's obvious. Lobo was the one.
I assumed that, but I wanted to double check.
Yeah, Lobo was the one, and I think Predator, the first Predator, the classic Predator, I did for Prime 1. I'm really looking forward to the final piece. I mean, the paint job Prime 1 does is outstanding. So I think they will bring that out of the park.
Do you have anything to do with that painting process? Is that just completely separate from what you do, or is that's
a separate edition totally? Different division they have, different master painters are there. I mean, nowadays, but I think Prime 1 has the best painters around the globe. That's for sure.
They do.
That's what personally I feel.
Do you have input as to what colors they are using, or is that just completely out of your hand?
That's out of my hands, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing how big of a difference, or how big a piece can, or the alteration that a piece might take place once it gets a paint job. It's completely different. It takes on like another life, and it can be good and it can be bad. I mean, I guess in Prime 1's case, it's always nothing to worry about. But there are pieces out there that once they get painted, kind of lose that spark. I've noticed. Not all pieces, but some.
Yeah, but it's there with every company. If you see, I mean, nowadays many companies, I mean, the paint job is not top notch actually.
Yeah.
So you need to share first teasers with them, then they will improve a lot. So it happens. I mean, it's a part of the process.
Yeah.
It seems like it's oftentimes kind of what factories people are using as well, where some factories seem to be producing really great final products and others not so much. But again, with Prime 1, I've never seen anything come out that's not top notch.
Yeah, I mean,
they're experienced, and I think, I think they're in this industry for last 5 years now. I think more than 5 years.
Yeah.
So I think experience comes on to the hand.
Yeah, they came on quick, and they got it right pretty early on. I know that some of the first lines that they did with the Transformers line have been a big hit with collectors, and then obviously the Arkham line. So they came on quickly and they have delivered time and time again. Great company.
Yeah.
Agree. Any other questions from the gallery?
I have one. Now that we're friends, because you mentioned this friend, you sculpted this, awesome Deadpool statue, this awesome Hawkman. I'm really looking for like a demon, Etrigan the Demon. Remember that guy? Anybody?
Oh, yeah, Etrigan.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think you should talk Prime One into paying you to make that.
I'm working on some sci-fi character for Prime One. I mean, I won't reveal the name yet, but it's one of the coolest characters. So I'm really looking forward to bring that to you guys.
Oh, that's awesome. Good news.
It's very cool.
I think that's something different, I would say. I mean, I will push my limits. That's totally sci-fi. I mean, all hard surface and sci-fi stuff. So it's a different thing, which I love to do, actually. I moved into this anatomy part because I had no other choices, because the characters I used to get were more into anatomy and organic things. But now I think I'm moving towards this field of hard surface thing, sci-fi. So I hope you guys will like it.
Yeah. My question is, Mr. Chopraa, is that you did you're doing the Predator that's coming out for Prime One? Is it the original Predator?
Sorry to interrupt, but call me Romell, sir.
Oh, okay.
Romell would be fine.
Rommel. So you're doing the Predator Prime One, the one that they revealed recently?
Yeah.
There's two.
The first Predator.
The first classic, Predator. Oh wow.
Yeah, the classic one.
Oh my gosh, that's that's one of my favorite sci-fi creatures, aliens of all time. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it comes out. And I'm a big fan of Prime One, and you're right, they are like in the top of their game with their painting. But my question is that is there any like input if you see like a piece that they painted? Is there any input that you put in and say, hey, could you this is not what I envisioned, maybe you could add a little touch here or there? Or is that something you just kind of just leave it and like you just leave it to their them?
As an artist, I can share my opinion on that. I mean, that can be, but I don't have any liberty to interfere in that division, actually. That's a totally separate division they have.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So they know it better, so I think.
And just one more, another question is, you said that anatomy-wise, that's something that you always because I work in the medical field, so I do know a little bit of anatomy. But is there something that you took an anatomy book and kind of studied like the muscles and how they move? Do you look at videos of how when people move, their muscles move? Or is there something that you do or you research? Because I'm looking at a lot of the stuff that you put, like the Wolverine. Like the muscles on that, the muscle definition and the sculpt is amazing. I think that's probably one of the best ones I've seen on anatomy-wise.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. See, I used to pose a lot in front of mirror. I mean, you don't need to be a bodybuilder to pose in front of a mirror. Even if you're out of shape, you can see the muscle placement. Like if he's holding a rifle like this, the Lobo. So you just feel the muscles, the veins, the way the body folds itself. I mean, the hunch at the back. I mean, that I study a lot actually in front of a mirror. That helps me a lot actually.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's actually
I do have a lot of books from my father's collection. I mean, anatomy books, because he studied medical back then when he was in high school. My father.
Okay.
So I have that old collection and classic collection with me. Oftentimes, I used to study a lot.
Okay.
Based on those books, yeah.
It's really amazing because sometimes in previous statues, sometimes you'll see it's an over, like you said, like an over exaggeration of like a muscle or something, and it just doesn't look natural. But with Lobo, with Wolverine, even with Deadpool, it's just like it's all a natural and organic sculpt. So
Yeah, I mean, in some cases, I mean, that was a requirement. If we have to follow some comic guidelines and some comic style, the exaggeration is must.
Yeah.
Exaggeration is must in comics. So you can't go realism. I mean, you can't follow realism in every aspect of life, in every aspect of character.
Okay.
Something has to be stylized, something has to be blended between. So it's a combination, amalgamation of both of them actually.
Oh wow, cool. Thank you.
So, are you a fan of any of the sculptors around now that you're a fan of, or you like their work?
Yeah, a lot of inspirations are all around, sir. I mean the guys which are joining in right now, they're starting off with some private commissions. It's a good experience for them. So, like I said, inspiration is all around us. I really admire William Horbutel from Sideshow.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Lord, he's master of anatomy, I think, and Martin Cannelly.
Yes.
Great sculptor.
He's my favorite, actually. Martin Cannelly is my favorite. So, and a lot of youngsters, I mean, who are pouring in. Daniel Bell, he is doing amazing work for Sideshow.
Yeah,
it's so neat to see the appreciation from all the artists and to see that admiration for each other, because everybody's putting out such good work, like you said.
It's like a family, man. I mean, it's like a family. We can't go against anyone. I mean, it's like a family. It's like an inspiration. We learn from each other. We share a lot. We share differences. We share different outputs. I mean, workflow is different, might be different. Everyone has different workflow, but at the end, we have to bring the best on the table for you guys. So that's what really matters, I think.
Awesome. I wanted to take just a second here to acknowledge some of the people in the chat. I wanted to say hello to Dark Mufasa, Jason Stillwell, Louis Odeja, Area 51, Walter Van Winkle. All of them have really good things to say in the chat tonight. There is somebody named Enigma. Wow, Jason. Wow, Jason just did a super chat. Thank you very much, Jason. That's amazing. Enigma asked, do you feel like you can make a good living being a sculptor? If somebody has that aspiration to go into sculpting, do you feel like that's a good field to go into?
See, it's a long road, so don't expect things to be on a fast track. That's the one advice I want to give. So just when things takes time, just learn a lot, just push your limits, and don't expect things on an early basis. I mean, just give them some time and just work what you love to do. That's it.
Do you feel like it's very helpful to build up your portfolio to make sure you have lots of examples and different styles of work, or do you feel like somebody should try to focus on kind of what their specialty is?
If you're efficient on something, if you're efficient in organic part, then I would suggest to keep focus on that area only, because otherwise you will lose your mark. So just maintain the focus on one area and just develop a portfolio onto that and just move forward. That's it.
That's awesome. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, just get this out of the way. What Dark Mufasa was asking Romell, how did you learn to sculpt, by hand or digital?
Yeah, I joined an institute back then, almost 11 years back. That was in my diploma. I took some classes for traditional sculpting, but then I left traditional and moved on to the digital part actually. So digital was more comfortable for me. I mean, that's a comfort zone for me. And traditional is must. You need to have that knowledge of all the forms, how things blends together, how our ancestors used to work, masters used to work. So basics are necessity, I think. But digital, I love to do. That's my comfort zone, actually.
Okay.
I had a question about since you've done that really awesome brown Wolverine for XM, and then you got the Lobo coming out for Prime 1. When you're working for these companies, My question is, which one is more cruel? Like the bosses of XM, are they jerks to you? Just tell me. Do they pick on you? Do they give you? I mean, do they even say thank you? Come on, guys. I mean, do they maybe give you a pizza delivery or something? I'm like, Now, my honest question though is, are the time frames completely different? Is it the same for each? You're done when you're done, or do they give you tight deadlines? And how do they differ between both companies?
Deadlines have always been there, I guess, since from the beginning. When we signed the contract and all, the deadlines are must also. But I'm blessed that I'm not going to say anything jerky about anyone.
I was just joking.
Joking about anyone, but yeah, I mean, I used to share update on after 3 or 4 days to every client. I mean, if I'm working on a single company, then I used to work only on 3 or 4 days. Then second update comes after 3 or 4 days. So initially, I use this timeline technique, which is called time cruncher. On a single day, I used to work on 4 projects at a time.
Wow.
It helps me a lot. So I set an alarm on my iPad for 2 hours. Then I need to, after once alarm beeps, I need to switch to another project.
Wow.
So in such way, you can improve your productivity, and that really helps me a lot.
I like that. It's good.
After 3 or 4 days, you can share an update to 3 or 4 clients also. That can happen.
Okay. Know when to say no. You set your limit. Move on. It's good advice.
You kind of alluded to it. Junior statue collector in the chat says, "Do you get to see other sculptor pieces that they are working on, or are you just able to see what you're working on?"
No, the things are confidential, so we don't share these updates with anyone. It's all confidential, and we should respect confidentiality as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Quick question, Romell.
Private pieces, I mean, these personal pieces we always can share with everyone, but the company pieces, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Romell, quick question, just piggybacking off of Centauri's question. How is Prime One's, because, we hear about Sideshow and then they have such an awesome, place. How's Prime One's, company, the building itself? Is there, a lot of, because I would like to know, is it like a Google, do they have, water bottles on the side, or massage therapists, ready for you whenever your hands are getting, tired and need to go get some massages in your hand?
There's pop rocks and free pop rocks and jump rope classes and hula hoops,
yoga,
free Snickers.
Yeah.
I think between companies, the competition has always been there. The competition will be there, I think. But Prime One is really evolving all the artists together nowadays, I guess. But things are changing, I think. That's what I feel about Prime One. Things are changing now, and they're changing for good. I wish they will change for good.
So you have been working with Prime One on a couple projects. Are you still considered a freelance artist? Do you sign a contract to do a certain number of pieces? How does that work?
Yeah, I'm not exclusive. First of all, I'm not a Prime One artist only. I mean, I'm a freelancer, basically. Okay. I don't work for Prime One only. I work for different clients around the globe. So I'm not exclusive for anyone. So that's the reason I tend to get involved in different activities, different projects altogether, different clients, different styles. I started with another company that's totally manga style, the Kenshin Rock project, which I shared a teaser on Facebook as well. Kenshin Rock. Master Boichi's artwork. So I'm working on something related to that. That's a totally different style altogether. So I'm exploring my limits, exploring my ideas, and that's it. I mean, that's how I work. and that's how we all should work. I think.
Awesome. I love to hear about your process. I think it's awesome.
Thanks.
So we had another question from the chat was, how much satisfaction or importance do you place on whether your piece that you've done, like say the Lobo, whether it sells out or not?
I mean, you're asking about the sales or?
Yeah, how much satisfaction? I mean, if it doesn't sell out, does it bother you, or are you okay with that? I know it would make you extremely happy if it sells completely out in 10 minutes, but does it bother you if it? That was a question from Muzzy in the YouTube chat.
That's a good question, actually. I mean, sometimes, I mean, as an artist, we put our souls into it. Like, you need to understand, I mean, it's the favorite. I mean, it's not always time zone and efforts. I mean, it's soul also. I mean, artist puts its soul, his own soul onto the piece, into the piece. So yeah, if it doesn't sell good, we really feel bad. I mean, like, I'm not happy with the way Brown Wolverine came in. The final production piece, the paint job had some glitches, but I think XM is improving that, and hopefully that will be better soon. I didn't feel good, actually, honestly, about Brown Wolverine production piece.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it would be hard to not take it personally myself if it didn't do well, or if it got a lot of criticism from the fans.
Yeah, my mother used to suggest me a lot that you don't need to be so much attached to these spaces. I mean, it's your job. Your job, once your job is done, it's over. But I don't feel that way. I mean, obviously, it's not a perfect statue. Nothing can be perfect. That's for sure. Because in some areas, some poses, some limitations, some restrictions were there. So we had to keep everything in mind. But yeah, I mean, some production could be better on Brown Wolverine. That's what I feel. But it's totally company's decision, so it's okay. It's all cool.
Okay. It's kind of once it goes out of your hands and you've turned in the finished piece, it goes into all of these other
my
people
job
are responsible for getting it there and doing a good job on it to make sure that it comes out the way you intended it to.
Exactly. That's what my mother used to tell me, but I don't feel that way. I mean, still we are attached to these pieces, so I mean, the emotional feeling is still there, I feel.
Well, especially, you know, if let's say the Brown Wolverine, the sculpt was amazing, but you mentioned that, and other people had mentioned too that they didn't care for the paint as much. I think XM said that it was maybe the lighting of the place, but it's still your name attached to it. So I could see where it does matter to you, because, you know, it is still your name that sculpted the item. So that does go with that. So I could see where you would want that to be as successful as possible.
Yeah, but everything is not in our hand. I mean, it happens. You can't make. I mean, Lobo was exceptional, but you can't accept such feeling for every piece around, every upcoming piece. So some pieces will receive some average response, some will receive some bad responses, some will receive some good ones. So it's a part of the job, and it's okay.
Absolutely.
I like the Brown Wolverine. I think it's awesome.
I like it too. I mean, I love
I have 2 Wolverines, and that's the only thing stopping me from getting that right now. But real quick, let me say something real fast, and I'm not joking. Right before I came in here, my wife was talking to me. She's like, "Are you excited to meet him?" And I was like, "Yes and no." And I was thinking, I think once I talk to him, he's going to be sucking money out of my wallet. You know, I'll be talking to him. We'll be discussing Lobo. We'll be discussing Brown Wolverine. We'll be discussing, you know, all those things. And of course, he's going to be charming. And, you know, next thing you know, I'll be pre-ordering these things and I'll be broke. So, but I will say it was a pleasure to meet you, though. It was really cool. And there's a lot of cool insight. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot between 2 companies. I was just trying to have a little fun. But I think your art is amazing. So So thanks for coming on here. It's pretty cool.
I really appreciate that, sir.
We are getting closer to running out of time. I think you wanted to show us maybe some stuff on your screen share.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's the one I'm going to share now. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I'll end up buying this.
Which one? The Lobo?
Lobo.
Oh, I know. I really want it.
Yeah.
It's probably the best Lobo I've ever seen.
Such an amazing piece.
Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. That's what I'm talking about.
With the dolphins, obviously, right?
Man, I don't know. I've got art prints. I've got the old Sideshow Comic Cat, and I've got his first appearances. I got most of his comics. Now you're showing me this. Thanks.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you're showing us here.
This is the digital process, the actual digital file of Lobo. You can see all the details on the close-up itself. Like all these small details I sculpted.
Yeah.
Wow. Crap. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's my favorite part there. He's biting on his lip. I love that, man. Perfect.
All these braids and all.
Yeah, the skin is awesome, especially on his arms, man. It's really cool.
Is this ZBrush that you're using here?
Yeah, this is the ZBrush.
And it's amazing, like you get to appreciate like what goes into making an awesome statue like this. Like look at that, the details all around, like his arms and
all this anatomy, all this part. That was a fun part actually on this piece.
It's a texture.
I mean,
on the
details.
leather.
Wow. But details. I mean, you don't need to add a lot of details to bring the best from the statue. I mean, sometimes a pose can do wonders as well. So I think that's the important part. That's the hand which I was talking about, the cigar hand.
Yeah.
That's
I have a question about the ZBrush thing. When you start a project, do you start a project differently than you would with traditional sculpt, or is it basically the same? Like, do you start with like a stick figure, or I mean, how would you begin the project?
I usually start from this sphere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From here to here. This thing.
So this technique and this program, it still has a lot to do with almost like sculpting. It's not like it's not drawing. It's not necessarily sketch. Pencil and paper.
It's all sculpting, sir.
Yeah. Still has those parameters, that feel. I got you. The dog.
I just love that you instantly get that 3D feel. It's just like it's right there. It's so cool.
All these hair strands.
Was this a hard process to learn ZBrush?
It took me almost 2 years to learn that software.
Oh wow!
2 years, I guess. But that was like I said, 11 years back. So I enjoyed it a lot actually. It was a learning experience.
Wow! Look at it.
And since then, ZBrush improved a lot. I mean, a lot of quick changes they did on this app, and ZBrush is a leader nowadays. It's a must for every artist out there.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Did you say 11 years ago?
Sorry?
Did you say 11 years ago?
Yeah, 11 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow! Look at the bulldog too.
It's neat that they are constantly updating to help artists too develop new techniques. I just think that's really fascinating.
Yes.
Fanboy.
It's neat to even see the level of detail on the skin. Like it's the texture.
Yeah.
So you're sculpting Lobo. Do you ever feel like you're 100% happy with him?
Not really. I mean, there are some things which I can improve now. But like I said, that was in particular guideline and particular time frame. I mean, it was fine. Because I didn't have that liberty to go all dynamic on this pose. It's 1/3, so you can't go dynamic. It will take a lot of space also.
It is just a masterpiece in my eyes.
I'm glad that you guys loved it actually, but still I see a lot of glitches are there, which can be improved, but it's fine.
I love the eyes, the red eyes there. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's definitely the portrait right there, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's sick.
So cool.
And the teeth too. That's pretty. The detail in the teeth, and the blood coming out on his lip.
I feel like this is the greatest head sculpt that's ever been done. I feel like it is just the level of detail is just phenomenal.
You know, all these hair strands I had to do. All these hair strands.
Wow. Yeah, I'm telling you, seeing the behind, like a little bit more behind the scenes on how statues being made is just gives you a lot more appreciation for the artist, what they go through to make like a beautiful piece.
Yeah, thank you
look at the cuticles too. Wow, it's really. Yeah,
well, these details were hard to capture, but then I said, I used to study a lot with the fist, how muscle blends into each other, how it's pressing with the weight. And that was the hardest part, actually.
Did they give you any specifications on how tall Lobo should be? Like, did they Google, okay, here's what DC says, the size of Lobo. Did they give you that? Like he should be like 7 feet tall or whatever, for example?
Yeah, I think he's around 7 feet tall, 7 or 7.5, I guess.
Okay.
That's what comic says, I think.
So what you're saying is this piece will probably get me divorced. Is that what you're trying to say? My wife will leave me. Okay. Bet she's listening.
So that was the part, actually, sir.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that process with us and giving us kind of a behind the scenes. And I can't thank you enough for being on the show today. It is just an honor of a lifetime for me. I'm just a big fan. And I can't wait to see what you do in the future. I know it's only going to get better from here. And my final question for you tonight is, tell me about your dream piece. If you could work on anything from any comic or any movie field or anything, what would be your dream piece to work on and why?
My dream piece would be the Loki character.
There you go.
From North
Oh,
Universe.
wow.
And I'm already working on that. That's a personal project, actually.
Sweet. The comic version?
That's my personal project, actually.
Is it the comic or the movie version?
Something new you will see. It's my own version of Loki.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
It's my own version of Loki, and that's a venture which I'm about to start with one of my friends. I haven't revealed the name yet because something has to be constructive first. Then I will share.
That's awesome.
So that's for my own venture, actually.
For the people that would like to know, what is the best way to find your work? I know you have your ArtStation profile. So if you were to put a teaser of that Loki out there, what would be the best place to find your work?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. I will share the link in between. Instagram and ArtStation are the ones which I'm active of, which I'm quite active all about. So you can find me over there. Facebook, I don't use after the privacy issues. I mean, some security issues. So I don't share much information with my clients also on Facebook. I prefer the conversation through email only.
Okay.
So ArtStation and Instagram, that would be the safest place, I think.
Awesome.
And you can find me on CG Society as well. I'll share the links down below.
I appreciate that. Again, I know I speak for all the guys tonight. It was just an absolute honor to have you on the show. I'm a big fan, and it means the world to me that you took time out of your day. I know it's early there, so thank you, so very much.
You guys are giving me so much love, but honestly, I don't feel that I'm anywhere yet. And it's just a start for me. I mean, I'm not that big also, so it's.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your concern.
Well, we appreciate.
I can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. And I can't wait for future projects. I can't wait. I mean, with Lobo, it's just such a big splash, you know, in the industry. So I can't wait for future projects.
Yeah, it won't be long, and you'll be doing that demon piece for me or Calendar Man. I'm gonna keep pushing that.
It's pleasure to meet you, Calendar Man Lego.
The demon king with all the wings, you mean?
What was that? I didn't hear.
The demon king with all the wings?
No, demon. He fought Lobo back in the day. He was like a Jack Kirby creation. Yellow fins. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Man.
Maybe someday, Stir-Fry. You never know.
I don't know. Man. I think you can do a good job, buddy.
I know I want to see him do anything with Batman. So I know you're a Batman fan. That's my dream, is to have you do some sort of Batman piece, so I could have it in this cave, because I cannot wait for that. I hope, my fingers are crossed.
I would love a Star Wars piece.
By the way, great collection you guys have. Great collection, man.
Oh.
I can see that Killer Croc over there and that Predator, the classic Predator on your shelf.
Oh yeah, I love my Predator.
Yeah, that's a cool piece, man.
Everybody's got such amazing collections. It's so neat to see all these pieces, and again, I cannot wait to see everybody's collection have your pieces in them, because I see only good things for you, and I love your attitude toward your process, and I'm just so thankful that you came on today. And to the whole gallery, thank you guys for being here as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll see you guys in about 2 weeks, and we'll see you guys in the back cave. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night to you all.